The Innokin EQ. The Innokin EQ was sent to me for review from buybest.com. This is a very sleek looking button activated pod vape from Innokin, so let's take a look at it. First, the specs: has an 800 milliamp hour battery. The size is 90 by 35 by 15 millimeters, and it comes with a new Plexus 0.5 ohm coil. 2 mil capacity, and it comes in the colors of purple, red, blue, gray, and black. In the box you get the Innokin EQ, a pod cover, and a user manual. The Innokin EQ has a very nice look to it. It's sleek and a modern design, and the paint is sort of like a smooth matte finish. It's nice, it's comfortable to hold, and it's pretty compact. For reference, it's very close in shape and size to the old eLeaf iCare or the new eLeaf iWoo. It's about 3.5 inches tall, 1.25 inches wide, and a ½ inch thick. Now what's different with this device from other pod vapes is that it's button activated, when most pod devices right now are draw activated. I don't think either style is a pro or con inherently. I think both are good and more of a personal preference, but I like that there's a good pod vape on the market now that has a button, for the people who prefer it. One of the biggest benefits to having a button is that it prevents issues with auto firing, which seems to happen a lot with pod vapes. But with the EQ, you can just turn it off. I haven't had any issues with auto firing, but if it does ever happen, you can just turn this off and you're good. So I like that. To turn on the EQ, you press the button 3 times, and the same to turn it off. It's a nice and clicky button. The button has 2 colors, red and white. When you turn it on, it flashes red, then white. I don't think it means anything, it's just what it does. There are also 2 different modes that you can use. Regular mode fires the pod at 13.5 watts, and boost mode fires it at 15.5 watts. To set the modes, you need to turn the EQ off. Then you hold the firing button until the light starts flashing. It'll cycle through red and white until you let the button go, and you'll want to let it go on whichever mode that you want to use. White is regular mode and red is boost mode. Now in my experience, I don't notice a difference between the two. A 2 watt difference just isn't much, so I don't notice it. But for people who vape lower wattage all the time, they might. I do think that this is a cool feature. The one complaint that I have with this is that you have no way of knowing which mode that you're in after you've set it. There's no indication when you turn it on or when you're firing it. The only thing that you can do is turn it off and cycle through modes again to make sure that you're on the mode that you want to use. The battery in the EQ is a 800 milliamp hour battery, which is very nice. It's a big battery that lasts a long time in a pod device like this. The LED on the button also indicates battery life. If you have a full charge, the light will be white when you fire it, and when the charge is low, it'll turn red. And it charges using a micro USB. The pods come with a pop-off cap, and I don't know if this is designed to prevent leaking, but I think it can be really useful for preventing dirt or whatever else from getting in. Have you ever read those stories on Reddit where people vape their tanks and later find a bug has climbed in there? Yeah, that's a thing, and that prevents it. To get the cap off, you need to squeeze it. Now here's an issue I have with it. The pods sit in the device so loosely that it's hard to slide the cap off without pulling the whole pod out. I would have liked for these pods to be a little tighter in there. They don't just fall out or anything, but it could be tighter. While I do like that they included it, I've chosen not to use it just because I want faster access to the device when I want to vape. Okay, so about the pods, they hold 2 mils of e-juice and use Innokin's new Plexus EQ 0.5 ohm coil. And these are mesh coils, which is the first mesh coil that I've seen in a pod device. But since it's mesh, that means it's designed for better flavor. Innokin also says that they should last longer than your average pod. Now I can't speak much to the lifespan, but because I'm still using the first pod after about 3 weeks, and it still seems to be working fine. So yeah, it seems good. As for flavor, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm honestly not sure if it's any better than any other pod system I've tried, because they're all pretty good these days, but yeah, the Plexus coils and pods have good flavor. Also wick very fast, and I've never gotten a dry hit. Filling the pods is also very simple and well designed. You just turn the bottom piece and it opens up 2 holes. The fill holes are small, so you need a fine tip bottle to fill it. The nice thing about how this opens up is that it instantly opens both holes, which prevents flooding, which is an issue with other pod systems. The problem is that if one hole is closed, pressure can't be released and the hole gets plugged while you're trying to fill it. So that's not an issue here in my experience. Airflow is a bit of a cross between tight and airy. This isn't super restricted, which is what I prefer in pod vapes, but that's not what everyone likes. So if you like a little more airflow, that's what you'll get with the EQ. It'll give you a slightly airy mouth-to-lung draw, or a very restricted lung hit. So that's the Innokin EQ. I do like a lot of things about this. It looks great, it's compact, it has a large battery, I like that it's button activated, it's easy to fill the pods, the coils last a long time, and the flavor is good. That's a lot of good things to like about it. My only complaints would really be that the pods slide out a little too easily and that there's no indication of what mode you're in after you've set it. I would have liked for them to include an extra pod too, but all in all, this is a great little pod vape. So if you're interested, buybest.com sells it for about $22. Okay, thanks for checking out this review, and I'll catch you on the next one.